Hi, friends. Amanda with Celebration Title Group back again with another amazing panel. And this one I'm super excited about. And these two faces you probably haven't seen out in the industry, but I can definitely tell you any of you that are running a business or have a team, that really the heartbeat of the organization really kind of falls with operations, right? They're the ones that are doing all the magic behind the scenes, dealing with the systems, dealing with productivity, accountability, all that fun stuff. But kind of the goal of today is just to interview two of the best that I know in the industry that we work with at Celebration that really run an amazing team and organization. And I want to get some tips from them, whether it be, how to run a team, especially during this time, how they pivoted, and then, of course, what are some tools and techniques you can even give to an individual agent to work on their systems right now? So I want to give you a chance just to introduce yourself really quick, Chris, and then we'll jump right into it. So, Chris, I'll go with you.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for having me, Amanda. Really appreciate you thinking of me. My name is Chris Anuszewki. I am the VP of Operations for the Figueroa team, run by the amazing Veronica Figueroa. So happy to be here.
Awesome. And Paige?
I'm Paige. I work with the Pozek group at Keller Williams here in Orlando.
Awesome. You've already got Ken on there. Yay, Paige.
We saw that. Thanks, Ken.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for tuning in. Well, I just kind of want to jump in and, let's start with Chris. What do the current operations of your team look like right now? And how have you really shifted, communicating or messaging with your team from an operations standpoint?
So obviously with COVID, we don't have the day-to-day in the office. We really had to push heavily on the technology side, which I think everybody has had to do, right? So it's not just the technology, but I think how you use it. So one of the things that we've done is, number one, we all got Zoom accounts now. So Zoom has basically taken over our lives. That's been a huge resource. And we do very regular calls now. So every morning at 8:30 in the morning, we do a huddle with our team. So all of our agents are on there. That's Monday through Friday. So we just have a nice touch base with our agents. Everybody's up, motivated, ready to go. We talk about some news items, talk about our wins, challenges, and really it's just a way to get motivated for the day. So that's one of the big things for us. And then on Fridays we have taken that thing called Fire Friday, and Veronica brings in guests, and we've had some amazing guests that are just super motivational. Sekou Piles is one that came on. He's an amazing just person, dialing and what you got to do to make contact and things like that. So that has been a huge part of where we pivoted, is instead of having that office space time, we now have Monday through Friday huddles, and then we always have had a weekly Tuesday meeting, and we do that now. We just do it virtually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So it sounds like a lot of your messaging too has shifted to more mindset coaching and just keeping everybody up to date and making sure that they're staying motivated and accountable and all of that, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's a big shift, and that's what I'm saying. I think technology has enabled that kind of connection. I feel like it's a little ironic because when you have that face-to-face, you're not necessarily in tune, right? Or just, I don't know, maybe it's COVID, I don't know what it is, but what I mean by that is like now stepping in this realm of like really touching base with our agents and like, how are you doing? How are you doing emotionally? How are you doing professionally with your business? Is there anything we can do to support you, but not just on the business side? Like, how's your family doing? How are, it's connecting on a deeper level with our agents. And I actually had found myself when we were in the kind of face-to-face stuff before COVID, like finding like, man, I really haven't had time to like actually speak with my agents, right? There's times when I'm like closing my office door just so I could focus on projects. I find myself getting disconnected. And I find it just ironic that now it's like, I can't see them face-to-face, like in person. We're having to rely on technology, we're distanced. But I feel like I'm able to connect with them more, of how really in-depth conversations with some of the agents on our team. Some of them are going through some like really great wins, and then I have some that are really struggling, right? They've got family problems, maybe, just personal things that it's more than just being like, hey, we're here to help you sell more homes or help you help more clients. It's more about like, how can we help you as a person? And then in turn, we're encouraging them to do the same for their clients. Just reach out. Don't ask them to buy or sell a home. Find out like, hey, how are you doing? How's your family doing? Is there anything we can do from you from an agent perspective? From a need help? And so that's been a huge shift, and I think it's just funny how it kind of worked the opposite way that you think it would, right?
And I love that the whole time we're speaking, Paige is like agreeing with everything. She's like, yeah, this is basically my world too. And, you know, everyone's talking about that shift, that pivot to, you know, just deeper questions and connecting. And it is funny because we think about how busy you are in the office sometimes, and you just shut your door because you want to get things done. And now you're like really reaching out to people and having the conversations, and they're very intentional, right? The intentional type of conversations. So Paige, tell us kind of, you know, what your operations looks like and how you maybe have pivoted messaging or communication with your team.
Yeah, so we pivoted a little bit before everybody else. So we've actually been out of the office now since March. And so we've been doing weekly check-ins with our team. So on Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m., we're all on a call together. We're all checking in. Where are we at? What's your wins for the week? How are we doing? You know, what are you doing to stay motivated? How can we help your clients? You know, what can we do moving forward? So for us, we've gone very digital. We're using a lot of Slack to stay in constant communication, and a lot of those tools to really keep us going, which has been great. And then I still call almost all of the agents on our team every day and say, hey, is there anything that you need today? Anything I can help you with? Anything I can help you grow with? And we kind of figure that out along the way as well.
I love that. So it sounds like both of you are really staying in personal touch with your agents and making sure they're motivated and productive. So, you know, kind of, this is probably a very loaded question, but I want to get, you know, what is a day in the life of an ops manager? You know, for a high performing team, both of you work for very high performing teams with numerous agents. And probably your day is not predictable, just like real estate is not predictable, right? But you know, what does that support mean to your agents and now more than ever? So I'll start with you, Chris.
So you and I were discussing this a little bit offline, and yeah, you know, I'd like to say that my day is planned out, and because I'm a super left brain person and everything's organized, but you know, stuff just comes out of the woodwork all the time. But you know, I try to stay organized and create like my priority list, right? Like I want to know like what are my priorities for the next day? What are major projects I need to make progress on, or you know, what are systems I have to implement, or who I need to touch base with, those sort of things. You know, inevitably things come in the email. We use Slack as well, so things pop up in Slack, and so sometimes it is a lot of running around and kind of putting fires out. That's a lot of what an ops person does is putting out fires. But it's also, you know, finding ways to go, okay, how can we mitigate this in the future? And then how can I put a system in place? So for me, I try to keep, you know, an organized list. I use something called Todoist. It's another, you know, you can use like reminders on your phone, you know, all sorts of things. I like Todoist. It keeps me sane. We also use something called Monday.com. And that's more of like a project management tool for our whole organization. So I'll leverage that sometimes to kind of make priority lists and make sub lists and checklists of things that I know I need to do to move along. I'm big into the whole, like when I check something off, like I get super excited, like no matter how small it is, right? And even if it's something I'm already done, sometimes like I'll go ahead and just put it on there so I can be like, yeah, I made that step. That's right. I forgot to put it on before, but I don't know. It's just that little wins, right?
Yeah.
It's like the little micro wins. We coach with a guy named John Cheplack, and he's big on something called micro commitments. And he talked about, you know, everything big was built on micro commitments. So to me, I look at these projects and I look at the initiatives that we're trying to do as a commitment, right? But I've got to break it down into these smaller things. So in order for me to stay on track, even while I'm putting out these fires throughout the day or throughout the week or the month or whatever the time frame is, it's having that kind of go back to like, okay, where did I leave off? Okay, what's the next baby step I need to take? And then is there someone else that can help me with that? Can I assign that task to someone else so I can we can get two things done at once? celebrity agents or the staff that I have.
Gotcha. So you it's super accountable through like a system, like you said, Monday, right? Is that similar to like a Trello board? Like,
yeah, it's a little more complex. Like Monday, I like to describe it as like, imagine taking like a Google sheet, right? And you've got data and kind of columns and lines and rows, but you could actually do things with them in terms of like setting a status and setting one little block as a status, and where it's at. And then based on that status, you can fire off notifications to other team members, to yourself, and so if you're a team runner, if you're running a team of your own, I would say it's absolutely amazing. If you're on kind of an individual, like solo team, like solo agent basis, it might be a little advanced in terms of like more than what you need. So I would definitely invest in something. Trello is an awesome one to do it. The one that I use, it's free. Or even again, just the reminders app on your phone if you have an iPhone. I'm sure Android is similar. I think it's the method of taking time to plan it out, create a list, and then keep going back to that list. Because at the end of the day, sometimes I'll go, okay, what didn't I get done? Okay, what do I got to do tomorrow? And sometimes those things, I'm like, I got to get it done on Monday. It gets done on like Thursday, right? Because other stuff comes up. But at least I have a structure to go back to, and I think that's just super duper important for anyone that wants to actually make leaps and bounds and take steps forward. Is having that anchor to go back to.
definitely. And, again, why I wanted to have you guys on here because, at the core of it, both of you are very great with organization and management, and that's why you are in the position that you're in. But many real estate agents don't have that, organization backbone. So, giving them little tools and techniques on what they can do as an individual agent even is so important. So, Paige, I personally seen your spreadsheets and all you do on the back end and, the things that you've even personally built out to really help your team. So what does kind of a day look like for you, Paige, that really helps support your team? And what does that support mean for them?
Yeah, so there's two things. The typical day for me, I try to start a half hour before my agents. And I started doing this actually when I moved to Florida, because I moved with Ken down from Detroit down here. And it was way easier for me to figure out what I needed to do when they're not in the office. Chris, you can agree with that. When they're not there, it's way easier to get it done. So I come in about a half hour before them. So usually around 8:30, I've got at least my top-notch list of these are the absolute must things I have to get done today. And then we use a platform called Brivity, which if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, send me a message. I'll give you a personal tour because I love it. It's an amazing program. It sends emails to me. It sends emails to our clients. It also has my favorite little check boxes. So I totally get the gratification there when you check that off and it goes away. It's great. So all of those things between those and my spreadsheets, which I know, Amanda, you've seen from our rides and everything else that I've built out. My go-to transaction list is a spreadsheet that I can update with dates of inspections and do we have an appraisal back. So at a glance, I can go back and look and go, okay, I know this is done. We can move on to the next thing, or I know this is super important. I have to do it right now. So it's just, we all have our quirks and our ways of how we learn to organize all of that data we get.
Yeah.
It's been really cool.
I love that. So if you're speaking from like an individual agent standpoint, is something like Brevity that you were talking about is something that they would easily be able to catch up on if they didn't have an ops manager, or where would you
Absolutely. So Brevity is extremely user-friendly. So the nice thing about it for us is it's our CRM and our transaction management in one system. So I'm not logging in and out of different accounts. It's all in one place, which has greatly changed the number of places that we need to go find information.
Right.
So even as a single agent, if you want to invest in the program, it's highly worth your time.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And so I know one thing both of you do that is a tremendous value for your agents is accountability and productivity, right? Making sure the agents are accountable, they're productive in everything they're doing. So kind of tell me what that looks like for your team and any suggestions you can give to agents to stay accountable. I know, Chris, you all have a system that you've built out, CSU, if I'm not mistaken, that is that is pretty neat to look at with the accountability standpoint. So
yeah. So as you just mentioned, we use something called Sisu, and it's SISU. It ties in with a lot of big CRMs. We're in particular we use Boomtown, but I know it ties in with Follow Up Boss, Commissions Inc. They use something called Real Sync, and it allows it to sync data between your. So the way it works is, as our agents do their daily tasks, calling or their leads, texting their leads, and putting gift campaigns, so that way their leads get, kind of updates on the regular, setting up home searches. All that data feeds into Sisu, and the whole point of Sisu is so that way the agent can kind of get a graphical and just data representation of all the things that was mentioned. So, they're going to set goals for themselves. Like, I want to make 100 phone calls a week. And so they'll be able to see on Sisu, a little kind of like a speedometer, right? And it just shows you in a circle, okay, here's where you're tracking right now in order to reach this goal at 100 calls a week, that's 400 a month. Are you on track? Like, it'll show you where you should be and where you are. And if you're behind, you can go, okay, I need to make some extra calls. I need to make some extra an hour of dialing today. Or maybe I'm ahead. Okay, great, cool. I'm going to meet my goal and I'm going to exceed it. And maybe I need to up my goal for next time. So Sisu allows them, because although we're on a team and we make a lot of things as turnkey as possible for our agents, marketing, branding, all of those things, we still want to teach and coach each agent to look at their business as their own, right? Like, just because you're a part of the Figueroa team does not mean you don't run your own business, right? Like, you are a business owner. And so we want you to equip you with the tools, and Sisu is a way to equip them with the tools to run their own business, which not a lot of people really know how to do, because you come from a 9-to-5 or whatever world you came in from before real estate. Not everybody in the world is running their own business. So Sisu is really cool too, because not only does it allow them to do that, but then as a team, we can assign points and do certain challenges. So every month we usually have 5 to 10 challenges going on. It could be phone, number of dials, number of conversations you had. Right now, we're placing a huge emphasis on video and Facebook Lives, because that's how we're connecting with our people, right? You can't always be there in front of them. So in order to better connect, you should be sending video text to your client. We're encouraging them, hey, as soon as you get off the phone, hey, Mrs. Jones, thank you so much. It was great speaking with you. I look forward to helping you find a new home, right? So before they ever meet you, they get to see your face, they get to see your personality, and we're getting points for that. And so the way that works is in Sisu, we give them points, and at the end of the month, those points add up and the leaderboard. So number one, it creates competition between the agents, and I think a lot of people love competition. I know I do. Number two, it's just a fun way to reward people, because then those competitions end up having rewards, whether it's for like gift cards or bonuses, or even the first right to pick the phone scripts. It's those sort of things that we want to encourage, and Sisu gives us that way to do that. And then it also gives us a platform where we can have those one-on-one coaching conversations to go, okay, look, here's where you kind of rank out, like, when you came into us, you told us you were committed to doing what you needed to do to be the best agent. And here's where you are. You're not making enough dials. Let's time block some time. You're getting, hey, I got kids, they're homeschooling. Like, we get it. Life happens, right? But if we can help coach someone using this tool, this accountability tool, now it kind of gives us, number one, data, so they can see it visually and go, you know what? I haven't been doing it enough time. Well, maybe they are, but they're not getting conversions. We go, maybe we need to talk to you about how are you coming off to your clients. Maybe you're too pushy. Maybe you need some training, some phone script help. So Sisu is really quick, definitely accountability piece. We like it a lot. And it's just one more tool to help an agent get better.
Yeah, I love that. So you guys have kind of like, gamified the production type, where, speaking from being a very like D-driven personality, we like to visually see where we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
This tool, instead of looking at data, which it kind of overwhelms, a real estate agent, they want to see kind of where they are, and that definitely helps. So I love that you're staying on top of their productivity and just digging deeper and developing them as salespeople too with that. So that's amazing. Paige, from your perspective, I know accountability has been something that you all implemented from day one with systems, and you just talked about it before, the daily accountability. So tell me if the messaging has shifted any, or how do you see your team right now when it comes to accountability?
So it's definitely a little bit different. So in our office, and part of this Google sheet that I built out, we basically have the biggest loser of real estate, but on a big board. So our board has everybody's names knocked on it. It has all of their goals for the year. And then at the bottom, I have it calculate the percentage towards their goals, so they know whether or not they're on track or they're not. And then I also throw our closings that week on there, just so that way they've got a little bit extra information. So it's just not numbers. But they love seeing it. I get texts saying, "Can you send it to me? I want to know where I'm at today. I know I added 2 more. Can I get an update?" Because usually it's just on our TV screen in the office. So now I send that through Slack for our team. So they do still get to see where they're going, where we've been. So that's really neat for us. But really, with the messaging for accountability, we also made the shift to having our accountability in Slack. So we have every Tuesday by 8 p.m. it is due in Slack that they have to fill out this form. And it's amazing. They can go back and look at the details from last week. We can see when deals fall apart, if we can find a pattern. It's really nice to have all the data all the time. So it's been really useful once we made that switch to Slack. And I think we started that about the first of the year.
That's awesome. So, and I love, we use Slack for as well. So we have different channels, and anybody that's listening, I mean, Slack is super useful tool. Even Workplace for Facebook, both of those are very similar and very easy to implement if you have a team and communicated. We do fun competitions all the time too. So I know just doing that extra competitive thing, but I love the biggest loser at real estate. That's cool to see what that looks like. When we're talking about more and more real estate agents and even business owners, if they're listening, digging into processes and systems during this time, and you're having a little bit of downtime, and you're able to really see where some holes might be able to be filled that you didn't know existed before. So, Chris, from your standpoint, are there any things that you've specifically been working on that you can even give advice to others to take a look at that you have maybe have seen during this time?
Yeah. I mean, I don't like to say it like this, but Veronica and I have said, this situation that we're in is almost a bit of a blessing in disguise, because it has given us some time to literally step back, look deeper at our processes and how we do things. One example of where we looked at was our transaction coordination processes and our contract to close, and really trying to button up what do we need to get in front of our agents, to help them get us the things that we need, when we come to compliance with our broker, and things are like, okay, what do we got to do? So we were able to kind of take a step back and walk through those things. So, I guess there's, and that's just one of the many things that we've stopped and kind of said, okay, let's take a look at this from a bigger perspective, but then also let's drill in, and get into those fine-tuned steps. So I think right now, the advice that I would give, whether you're a solo agent or a team, is really say, okay, where have you been struggling, right? Where have you been so busy that you haven't had 2 seconds to go look at it? Well, now's the time, right? Before we come out of this, COVID situation, quarantine, whatever you want to call it, now's the time to go, okay, what are my biggest pain points as a team or as a solo agent? And where's the real root problem, right? And what can I do to address it? It might be that you need a system in place. It might be that you need to bring on a new staff member, right? We did that even before COVID. We said, okay, where are we struggling? We need to bring someone in with an expertise, which you actually, thank you, Amanda, you referred the person I'm speaking about. And she's come on and really helped us, identify issues and then fill in those gaps. So sometimes it's a staff member, sometimes it's an HR thing, sometimes it's a process thing. And you can't always think that maybe your eye is going to see it, that you maybe need to get a third perspective, whether that's consulting. and maybe even just consulting with your agents if you're a team lead, right? If you're a solo agent, it might be, let me go talk to another agent. I mean, one of my favorite things to do, and we were talking about this before this, is masterminding, right? Go find someone else that's like in your circle or maybe outside of your circle that you can get a connection with and say, here's my problem. Like, how did you guys do it? Like, find someone that you look up to and ask them to take a look at it or just describe your issue. Because to me, it's now's the time. And every agent's going to be different. Every team's going to be different. There's going to be different problems. But when you start relating those problems and those challenges to other teams or other agents, they're going to go, yeah, I did that, and here's what we did last year to fix that. Or I did this, I was on the same thought process as you, but here's what I would have done differently. So you learn from other R&D, research and development. No, it's rip off and deploy. It's don't reinvent the wheel. Find out somebody else that's done it well and done it really good that you look up to, and then rip off and repeat, right? You do the same thing, you know? So that's my biggest thing is don't just put it on yourself. Rely on some other people to help bring a different perspective, you know? Invite a system, I don't know.
Definitely. And, talking about system, and it's funny, I always say, don't reinvent the wheel. Like that's always like the big saying, but you can always add a different like rim or a different colorful something to it.
Yes.
So take the information, lean into somebody who is better with technology or has done something like that. So I love that you're reaching out to other people. And I know Paige does the same thing too. So, I know the two of you can connect and probably grow a lot and learn a lot from each other as well. And there are people across the country that are struggling with the same things or systems or whatnot. So Paige, from your standpoint and with your team, any systems or anything that you saw that you dug further into and really adjusted, and sometimes it may not even be something we know we're struggling with. And I always tell my team, like, think of all the questions you get all day long. If you're getting the same question over and over again, then there needs to be a system put in place, right? So, and I know that you guys are the experts on doing that. So anything that you've done?
Yeah, so I spent probably about 2 days this week. Sorry, my dogs are being loud in the background. I spent about 2 days this week redoing my entire contract to close process from start to finish of anything that I could need to do. So all of the anything that I thought was missing before that I've wrote down, and like I write it on the side in Google Notes. I don't know if you guys use the Google platform, but on the side there's a special spot for notes, and I've been jotting down anything I could come up with that I didn't like. So the nice thing about Brivity is I always clear my inbox before I'm done for the day. So I've actually added some emails to myself to remind me to do things throughout a deal. So it's now, emailing me and looking at it right now. It says I need to request utility information, because just because it's a checkbox, it might not be something I look at right away, but I'm going to make sure I do it before the end of the day if it's in my inbox. So it's been a really neat process. I probably added about 15 different things to my already 38-step closing plan. So it's now, I'd like to say bulletproof. We'll find out soon enough. But, I always want to make it better. I want to make the best process possible, something that's smooth for our agents and smooth for our clients, because the end goal is to make sure that everyone is happy in their situation.
Definitely. So where do you guys kind of see the future of your team with the pivots and shifts that you've made, and any new discoveries that you're going to be maximizing on after this? Paige, I'll start with you just to mix it up.
So I've got to say, I'm really looking forward to when we can go back to the office. I miss my office family. But we've definitely learned how to pivot towards technology. And I'm really proud of our team for, we were also making a shift from .loop to DocuSign. So to be able to make that transition, get on Zoom calls, do FaceTime calls with clients, do virtual showings, I'm really proud of how far they've come in that. We know Ken's really big on video, but that doesn't mean that everybody's comfortable sitting behind the camera. So even for me, like, this is my first ever video interview. I've taught classes in my market center, but I've never been on video. So it's one of those, we're all trying new things and we're all moving forward, which is what's really exciting about it.
Yes, definitely. We're all, and I heard of
did I lose you?
You're still good. I think Amanda's the one that's frozen.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Difficulties.
I appreciate it.
She comes back here.
I hope so.
All right, we're back, I think.
Yay.
Second. But that was outside of our comfort zone, right? Showing technology and rolling with it. But Chris, from your standpoint, where do you really see your team and the way that you guys have pivoted and shifted after this, and any kind of new discoveries?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of Paige. You know, I do miss the day-to-day in the office and like my office family. But one of the challenges we faced before COVID was, number one, we're spread out all over. We do business from Point Siena, Winter Garden. We're going all the way up to the villages, out as far as Deltona, Lakeland. So we're everywhere, right? And we're expanding even more. And one of the challenges we faced was, number one, getting agents in. You know, we would have our once a week Tuesday sales rally and get all the agents in. For a lot of them, though, it's an hour plus drive sometimes with traffic, right? So that was a challenge. And the other thing was that as we expand, we're like, okay, how are we going to get these people? If we get out to Merritt Island or Cocoa Beach, you know, is it effective for them to spend an hour and a half driving there and an hour and a half back, you know? And then the other thing was that morning huddle I talked about. We'd been wanting to launch a morning huddle for months. And we were like, how are we going to get our agents to get up, be on camera, ready to go at 8:30 in the morning, you know? And you know, the current situation has forced our hand. We just said, let's just do it and let's just see what happens, right? And we've had immense participation. Our team has been absolutely amazing at jumping on that call, getting ready, you know, being there and just being present and participating. And like, I'm super, super proud of my agents and my team for stepping up and doing that and not making it like, all right, guys, we got to force you to be on here. We're going to start doing X, Y, and Z. Like, we haven't had to do that, and that's been just so awesome. So that pivot has just happened in this time period. And then so now it gives us that pathway to where when we do expand out, and we are going to be expanding, you know, to all those areas and cover a huge region of Florida, we now know, hey, we can do a Zoom call. We can Zoom people in, or, you know, video call, whatever platform it is. We can video conference them in and be just as effective as if they're in person. And that has just been huge for us. And again, it's just another kind of blessing in disguise that we're super thankful for. And it's allowed us to implement something that I think we wanted to, but we're maybe just scared of what would happen and if the agents would buy into it. But with this, they've kind of joined in on this, and it's just been awesome. And Veronica and I have already talked about this, like, this will continue even after when we're ready to go back. It's just a great way to get the morning started, to get motivated and to go, you know. Yeah. So it's a huge change for us, and we're welcoming it.
I love how you said, you know, you guys have been wanting to do that for months, and then like something like this forces you to implement it. So, and I think that's something a lot of us are seeing, right?
And one other thing along the virtual realm is like showing homes, right? Like, we've never done virtual consultations before, ever. And now our agents are embracing that big time, and clients are embracing that too. So just because we come out of the quarantine, it's not going to like completely change mindset of people to go back to like, oh, you know, I need to meet in person. Like, someone's going to be more open to viewing a house on video or doing a FaceTime, or the agent and the client are going to be more comfortable with already having that kind of expectation and that technology experience of what we're doing now, to go, yeah, I can just meet the agent virtually, form a relationship with that person and know their personality and know that I can place my trust in them, right? I don't have to just go meet some random stranger that's going to open a door for me and then kind of go from there, right? It's like you can kind of get a feel for them, they get a feel for you. It just, you know, it just is so much better. So that's another shift too that's been really cool for us is that virtual showing consultation kind of scenario.
Very cool. And Paige, any like words of advice from you? Let's say there's an agent watching that you know, wants to start looking at systems or anything. What is like the first thing that they can like jump into and start today to take action today?
I mean, start looking at them all and find out what what you need. So write down everything that you could ever want in something and go find the demos for it. Ask all the questions, ask the hard questions, because anybody can tell you, oh, it's great, we love it, it's perfect. Okay, what don't you like about it? Honestly, that would probably be the best question to ask. What if your system didn't have one thing? What is it? What do you not like? Because that's going to help narrow down what you need. And then just start writing it down. Like the Google Sheet that I talk about so much, it all started with the idea of I want to know what closed every single month. And it's now built into a sheet that has 9 different pages, anywhere from tracking monthly data to sources to our agents' own productivity. So just write it down and go from there.
Get started. Yeah, definitely. Chris, any word of advice, if you could say, to just take action on one thing today to get your system or to take a look at your current systems, what would it be?
I would say start with something that's going to fit your needs, and don't think or use as an excuse that, oh, it costs all this money, because there's so many free things out there. Paige touched on one that I love. I love Google. I love Gmail. Number one, a Gmail is free. If you want to do your own domain, like we have all of our agents all have @figueroateam.com, and we do that through Gmail. But Gmail is more than just email, right? Like Paige mentioned, there's notes on the side, there's to-do items, there's Google Sheets, Google Drive, where you can store files online. Like when I was doing agent, work, I would take video tours for out-of-town clients and upload to my Google Drive and share them that way. So there's all sorts of things, and you pay $5 a month for one of those Gmails that's there. So my advice is just you don't have to worry about or say, oh, it just costs so much money and I don't know, I'm not a big team, I'm a solo agent. Just use Gmail. It's free. It has so many resources. Google Sheets is awesome. Yeah, it's just, use that. And then Todoist, that's free. Trust me, I try to find as much free tools for my agents as possible so, they can do that. And then when you get to that level and you're busting at the seams and you need more, okay, well, now you're at that point where you can pay for a bigger system, But don't get overwhelmed. Just start small.
Yeah, definitely. And I know Paige wanted to touch on one more thing with calendar.
We use our Google Calendar for everything, from listing appointments to letting us know when they need listing packages to we have photos scheduled at a property. It has everything on there that you could ever want to know about anybody on our team. So it's a huge plus with Google if you're not using it.
Us too.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the both of you so much in your time, and I know you provide so much support for your team and your agents. And guys, if you're listening and you're wanting to join a team, Paige and Chris, I'm sure that they can give you some more information. I'm sure that both of you are looking to expand your teams and continue to give support for your agents that come on board. So if you'll leave all your contact details in the comments on this live, it's on our celebration title as well as mine. And then any of the resources that you talked about, so like the Monday.com and Sisu and Brevity and all of that would be amazing if you just put your details there. But I appreciate you both so much. I know you run an amazing operation, and we adore working with all of your agents because they are very organized and they are very up to date. And I know that heartbeat comes from you both. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you both again soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.